ICA was a small busy town, full of dust and traffic. Matt's first impression as he climbed down from the bus was that every building had been painted a uniform white and yellow, giving the place an artificial look. It reminds him of a film set perhaps from an old western. But really, life was all around him. It was there in the rubbish piles, the washing flapping on lines, and flapping on lines, high above the rooftops. The graffiti that seemed to have spread across every wall all around were advertisements for Nike and Coca-Cola names. All politicians had their parties and public warnings applied with a spray can, and it was there in the old man and woman's blinking on benches out in the sun. The Chicola taxis buzzing in and out of the main square, the money changers in their bright green jackets following the tourists who were taking pictures, all of this with cameras that must have cost more than most of the local people would earn in a year. Sebastian had walked with him to the main square. He brought them sisses, kebabs and rice and sat on the curb with them as they eat. I didn't like those provincial towns, he said. Luma may be a stinkhole, but at least you know where you are. I can never tell that country people are thinking. Maybe they're not thinking anything. They're just idiots. Used the abusive term for native Indians. They've got nothing in their hands. What do we do now? Matt asked. What do we do now? I'll tell you what I would do now, Metro Sebastian. I lit another cigar. It occurred to Matt that he had hardly ever seen him without one in his mouth. I got on to Akiyotsuko. If you make it there alive, come to the main square. I'll have people looking out for you. They'll bring you to me. Aren't you going to help us get into the hacienda, Sebastian? I laughed unpleasantly. I've helped you enough already, and besides, I enjoy living too much. I'll show you where it is. After that, you're on your own. After they had finished eating, he walked with them over a river, and on the edge of the town he talked to Pedro. As they went, he seemed to be giving him advice. Gradually, the houses fell away behind them until they come to a dirt track leading off from the main road. The Edichinda is 5 miles down this way, he said. I hope you'll find your friend there, Meteo, but I've already told you I doubt it. Maybe you and I will meet again in Aishashuo. I doubt that too, but I hope so. I thought you didn't like me, Matt said. Pedro tells me that maybe I'm wrong about you, that you're not the same as other rich kids in the West who have everything and never talk of everything and never think about people like us. He shrugged anyway, you are an enemy of the police, and this is enough to make you my friend. He reached into his pockets and took out a cloth bag. I have some money for you. It's 100 souls. That's a lot, almost £20 in your currency. And before you think me, it's Pedro. He was the one who stole it, not me. Maybe it'll help keep the two of you alive. Pedro said something in Spanish. Sebastian went over to him and spoke at length. When he had finished talking, he reached out and ruffled the boy's hair. Ruffled the boy's hair. Suddenly he was looking sad. I had a son once, he said. He shook his head. You know how to find him. He turned and walked away. Matt glanced at Pedro, who nodded. They still couldn't talk to one another, but they seemed to understand each other more and more. Together they set off. The track that Sebastian had showed them ran through artificial land. Some of the fields were planted with maize, beetroot, and asparagus, while others held cattle, chewing at the rough spiked grass. Following Sebastian's advice, the two boys kept to the very edge of the track, ready to drop out sight if any cars appeared. Once an open, backed track come rattling past, and they threw themselves under a low sub and waited until it had disappeared, kicking up clouds of dust. The afternoon was swelteringly hot. Pedro had fished two plastic bottles out of a bin and filled them with water from a tap, but Matt doubted it would be enough. He could feel his bottle leaking in his jeans pocket. He was tempted to drink it all now. As soon as the truck was out of sight, they stood up and trudged on in silence. Matt would have liked to talk. There was still so much he didn't understand, and it seemed mad to him that they would only be able to communicate when they were asleep. They were two of the five. He wondered what language the others spoke, the two boys and the girl that he had seen on the bench and had been white and fair-haired, but they could be Russian, Scandinavian, or even Martin for all he knew. And what happened when they did finally meet was that the end of the adventure of a bit, or the beginning of something worse. So many questions, but Matt could not only walk on in silence, feeling the sun as it beats down on his shoulders. He still hadn't got used to his own smell, to the unfamiliar shape of his hair, and the dye, dark and sticky all over his skin. His clothes no longer disgusted him, but they felt strange, like some sort of unpleasant fancy dress, and he kept on stumbling over his ill-fitted rubber sandals. Worst of all, he was worried about Richard. He had to admit that Sebastian was right. The chances of a journalist turning up at this and she were probably 1 in a million, but he had nowhere else to go. No other clue to follow. He had to start somewhere, and it might as well be here. Pedro stopped and took a quick drink. Matt did the same, wondering if the pavilion tap water would make him sick. Subscribe to bell, share, like, finger, click on main screen, my thumbnail, please. Watch my videos and start to finish. Subscribe to bell, share, like, thank you.